indiscretions. I finally made up my mind to have the affair I've contemplated for months. On a typical Wednesday night, indigestion brought on by my screaming one-year-old Alex was abruptly cured by Ethan's nightly tantrum about the potty. An hour later, after we had wrestled the kids into sleep, the dishes that overwhelmed the counters demanded our attention. Then recycling, then trash, then laundry, and finally Ethan's lunch for Thursday. By 9 o'clock, Kirk and I were exhausted. He turned to me, bobbed his eyebrows, and said, "Any chance you want to meet me in bed for a little?" Something in me stirred for a brief moment. And then the baby shrieked over the monitor. Alex's soon-to-be lateral incisors had reddened his naked gums over the previous week. I snatched up the infant's Motrin and shrugged at Kirk apologetically, another all-nighter spent with the kids. As most parents of small children know, the psychic, physical, and emotional energy demanded by the kids can be overwhelming. When you add household duties on top of the slavery that is childcare, the bed itself is more of a turn-on than anything you might do in it. After long days of giving to babies, the last thing I wanted to give was head. Please understand that I have sexual needs of my own. They just happen to make themselves known during the day, like before I'm totally exhausted. My imagination gets lots of action, even if my body doesn't. When Kirk is at work during the boys' nap, my fantasy is that he comes home, grabs me in his arms, and ravages me right there in the playroom. My reality is that he works in the city during nap time. Horny o'clock. And by 9, I'm just too bush to boink. During weekend naps, we typically carve out our own personal space time in order to get some freedom from the boys. This makes for a very unsexy schedule. In fact, since the kids came along, our once flourishing sex life, 1 or 2 romps a week, has slowed down to 1 or 2 trysts per month. And frankly, I'm tired of my battery-powered lover. So why not have an affair with a man who can meet me at horny o'clock? I've had my eye on this cowboy in town. He's strong, lean, and silent. He travels alone and walks without the telltale hunch caused by a diaper bag, stroller, or push toy. When he spots me, he nods confidently in my direction. I can almost picture the 10-gallon hat and trusty steed. The thought of the long, thick reins in his powerful hands just kills me. Most importantly, he's available between 12 and 1 o'clock. So I call the babysitter and arrange for emergency coverage for Friday afternoon. I call my cowboy and tell him to meet me at the Best Western in Corte Madera. I get that warm, tingly feeling all over my body, and I sustain it for 2 whole days. On Friday, I put the boys down for their nap and throw my raunchiest undies and garter in a bag. I say goodbye to the babysitter and race to the Best Western and plant myself in the lobby. In the cavernous entryway, the fire pops and sizzles in the fireplace. The sounds of bleeping toys and bicycle bells fade away, and I can all just hear the blood rushing in my veins. I can't believe the hot brazenness of this. I've never had an affair, much less in the day and so close to home. I'm such a slut. I blush just thinking about it all. The cowboy walks in. He's backlit, and the angles of his square shoulders stand out against the brilliant sunshine behind him. I'm all aflutter. We race to our room where I slip into something way less comfortable. He waits on the bed for me, completely unself-conscious in his nakedness. The bedspread, stark and white, stretches out between us, like the desert Southwest. Like an echo across the sand, my children's demanding voices fade into the distance, and it's just me and my cowboy. Holy shit, I think. This is so naughty. The sex is fantastic. He hardly says a word. No talk of diapers, table manners, or playgroups. Just sex, uninhibited and rowdy. When it's over, he says, "I'm starving." Like a cowboy, he dresses and leaves me, flushed and panting on the bed. I watch his square shoulders disappear into the blinding sunlight. I'm a little bit nervous he won't come back, but he does, 20 minutes later, carrying a bag from Max's next door. We wolf down our sandwiches and discuss the possibility of doing this again soon. I speed home to my boys, feeling more energized than usual. Our indiscretions have continued every other Friday at the same hotel for several months now. I don't feel guilty even when Kirk comes home from work this Friday. At about 6 o'clock, Ethan plays with his train set and elbows the invading Alex onto the floor, the baby screaming as Daddy walks through the door. Kirk's square shoulders seem a bit broader this and every other Friday evening. My heart bucks like a bronco in my chest. Welcome home, cowboy, I flirt.